All right, we are waiting for this to go live, and I think we're live. All right, cool. So if you're coming on, please let me know. Hold on, I'm just gonna look at Zoom real quick because I was playing my settings before, and I just want to make sure I actually have volume. Hey, it's been a rough couple weeks. So in case you know, I was at a mastermind like 2 weeks ago, and then that was like right after the week after Mother's Day, and then I got COVID. And so I was basically out most of last week. Like I did all my calls for EBN, and then like that was it. Like I was out for the week. So it's kind of nice to be back at my desk and, feel like I'm actually like back in rotation, back into what I'm, doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what's going on in EBN this week. And then I want to talk to you guys about 3 things that give me confidence for the week. And this was really important for me this week because, like I said, I haven't been at my desk really for the past 2 weeks. And so trying to kind of get back into the swing of things after like not doing all the things for 2 weeks, I think it's really important. So I wanted to share those 3 things with you because they kind of help me really stabilize when it feels like, you're discombobulated and you're not really sure what direction is up. And that's kind of how I felt for the past 2 weeks. This has really helped me. So let me know in the chat. Let me know that you're here and that you can hear me. So this week in the Empower Bookkeeper Network, which if you don't know what that is, the Empower Bookkeeper Network is the support arm of Bookkeeper Training School. So when somebody purchases Bookkeeper Training School, they get all of that content for life. And then they get the Empower Bookkeeper Network for a certain period of time. Okay. So the Empower Bookkeeper Network, that's all of our live calls. That's our Facebook group. That's where we answer all the questions. That is like, it's the greatest group on the internet. It really is. It's just amazing. And so that's our live support piece. And so this week we've got 3 calls. On Tuesday, we've got office hours at 7:30. Office hours is where we really dive into QuickBooks Online. And so people who are working on clients who may be stuck with something, they're not sure if they're doing something right, they can bring their client issue to that call and literally hop on with me, share their screen, and I'll help walk them through. Okay, which is really cool. And I think I'm working on a new bonus that actually came out of that. And I published the first part of it last week. So if you missed it, there's a post inside the Empower Bookkeeper Network Facebook group where I shared a link to a Google spreadsheet where I am creating a comprehensive chart of accounts, which those are the categories that you put things in, and then why you would use them and when you would use them. So I got about half of it done. I'm going to finish the other half this week, but I want to kind of share that with you guys. So if you're an active member, go check that out because you've got access to that as well. And then once it's done, we'll actually put it into the course itself. But for right now, we put it there. But that sprang out of office hours because somebody gave me that idea like, hey, let's do that. So, and if you're in Bookkeeper Training School and you have an idea for something you'd like to see, go to askkristen.net, fill out the form. And we're taking all those ideas, we're evaluating them, and then we're creating that content when we can. So we're always adding new things to the course. And we appreciate your suggestions. So thank you. So office hour 7:30 on Tuesday. We've got our weekly Q&A on Thursday, which again, if you have any questions, you go to askkristen.net and you can fill out the form. The askkristen.net form is the form for all support inside the course. And even if you haven't bought yet and you have questions, askkristen.net. There's options for everybody there, okay? But that's like the one place for all the support, whether you've got questions for me, whether you've got questions for my team, you've got account questions, you've got questions before you buy, everything goes there. We really streamline the support to make it easier for you guys. So you go to askkristen.net for all of your support options with the course, okay? So weekly Q&A, 2:00, that is where you submit your questions ahead of time. We record those calls. And when you're a member of the Empower Bookkeeper Network, you get access to all of the Q&As we've ever done. And then also on Thursday night at 7:30, we have our book club. Last week we went over chapter 10, which was a really heavy chapter in the High Five Habit. This week we are reading chapters 11 and 12. Okay, so make sure that make sure you're there for that. And even if you're behind in the book, like, come for the discussion, because we are having a lot of fun just discussing and growing. And so that's been really good. If you didn't know, if you're in EBN, there's an EBN book club group as well that you can request to join, just to kind of keep all the book club stuff kind of separate, just for the people who read the book club. Okay, so there's that as well. All right, so let's talk about 3 things that give me confidence for the week. So these are 3 things that I do that help me feel grounded, right? It makes Monday, I think, much more enjoyable. I don't feel like I'm like rushing into the new week. And so these 3 things have been really, really helpful for me. So the first thing is I have to make sure that my schedule is set and reviewed for the week. And so I sit down usually on either Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening, and I just like look at my plan for the week. Like, what is going on next week? What things do I have to remember to do? And so if you watched my live on the 3 things that you need in order to bring more calm and sanity to your life, the things I talked about were 2 of those things were having a calendar and having a place to put all your tasks. And so what I do on Sunday night is I literally sit down and I say, okay, let me look at the calendar. Let me make sure that I've got, I know what I'm going to work on this week. I know what the major things that have to go out the door. I know what meetings I have. And so what I do is I sit down with my planner and I create my pages for every day. I kind of pencil things in like, hey, I know on Monday I have to do this. On Tuesday I have to do this. I put in my meetings for the week, and then I can plan the rest of the day either the morning of or the night before. I like doing it the night before because it allows me to kind of close out the day. And then the next morning, it's like it's already set, right? I can just start going. But that gives me a lot of peace because I'm not waking up Monday morning going, oh my God, what's going on? What do I have to do today? What appointments do I have? Like, I already know what's going on. And so it makes my Monday morning much more calm, much more just relaxed. And so this is something you could do on Fridays, especially if you've got kids in the house and you want to just kind of know, hey, going into the weekend, going into next week, what does the week look like? So that way you can be prepared. And so that's just been really, really helpful for me. Now, the second thing, it is kind of along the same veins, is when I do that. So like, for example, this week, Monday and Wednesday, we have Taekwondo, which means we're not going to get home until 6:15. I sketch out a dinner plan for the week. Okay. So after I've looked at my schedule, I know what nights I've got late meetings, what nights I've got Taekwondo. So you figure, so if you look at my schedule for this week, I've got Taekwondo on Monday and Wednesday, and then I have meetings for bookkeeper training school on Tuesday and Thursday, right? And so I need to make sure that Monday and Wednesday, I've got something either in the crock pot or I've got something that I can get on the table really fast once we get home, right? Whereas Tuesday and Thursday, I'm probably going to want to start making dinner a little bit early so that we're all cleaned up and everybody's, calmed down and ready for bed, so I can start my calls at 7:30. So I sketch out, and it's like really simple. Like it's not like this complicated thing. I'm not planning Thanksgiving every week. Okay. So it's like, tonight we're having hamburgers. Tomorrow I've got more time, so I'm going to make pizza, and the pizza dough's already in the fridge. On Wednesday, we're going to have sandwiches. Okay. It's getting warm here in Florida. It's warm in a lot of places of the country. Thursday, we're going to have leftovers. Okay. Or we're going to have salad, and sandwiches. So, but that's the thing. It's like, It's really, really simple, but looking at my calendar and saying, okay, what am I going to be able to fit in here based on what we have? Right? That makes my week so much smoother. Okay. So I know what's on my schedule. I know what meetings I have this week. I know what I need to get done. And now I've got my meal plan. Okay. The last thing, and I think that this is incredibly important. How many of you want to spend less time on this thing? Okay. I think that's an awesome goal. And I'm one of those people. I totally want to spend less time on this thing. However, what happens is we do not make a plan for what to do if we're not on this thing. And so one thing that I do is I have a list of activities planned to keep me off my phone. So maybe it's a book I'm going to read, or magazines I'm going to read, or I'm going to practice my piano, or I've got a Lego set I'm building, or a puzzle I'm working on, or, we're going to have, Thursday night, we're going to have family game night, or whatever it is, but have a plan. Okay. Because what happens is when we're bored, what do? We pick this up, right? And we play on this. Or we search social media, or we make some excuse why we're on this thing. And so having a plan for what I'm going to do when I get bored, when my hand starts like, okay, I'm going to pick up my phone because I got to see what's going on with my phone. Having a plan is really important. So what are some things you want to do? I have a Cricut machine that I do not get to use enough. So maybe one night I'm going to have a craft night. Okay. But the thing is, if you just say, I'm going to spend less time on this thing, and you don't have a plan for what you're going to do instead of being on this thing, you're just going to default back to your phone. Okay. So really important, that third thing, okay, is to have activities planned to keep you off your phone. Okay. So again, the three things that give me confidence for the week. Okay. Having my plan for the week in my planner, knowing what meetings I have this week, what things I have to get done. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is having my meal plan complete for the week. Okay, so knowing based off of what we have going on this week, what am I going to make for dinner? It doesn't have to be complicated. Okay, real simple. Like I said, hamburgers. I've got homemade pizza this week. We're going to do sandwiches. We're going to do salads. Like really, really simple stuff, but at least I'm looking at my schedule and I know, okay, I don't have a lot of time this night. I need something fast. Okay. And so that's really important. And then number three, have some activities planned for the evening, right? And maybe it's just for you, or maybe it's for you and your family. But when you get sucked into your phone and that's not where you want to be, say, okay, I have a list of things. I've got magazines I want to read. I've got books I want to read. I've got an instrument I want to practice. I have a Lego set that is sitting in my closet from Christmas that I've not built yet. So that's one of the things that I'm going to be working on. Maybe there's crafting projects you want to work on. A couple weeks ago, I actually taught myself how to crochet. I've been a knitter for a long time, and I taught myself how to crochet, and I made Eric this little stuffed dinosaur, and he absolutely loves it. And he carries it around all over the place. So what are the things that you could be doing to not be on your phone? Okay. So those three things, okay, having my schedule worked out, having the meal plan, and having activities planned so I'm not on my phone, really, really helps my confidence for the week, because it gives me direction. Right. And when we have direction, when we have a plan, it is so good for your confidence. It really is. Okay. So I hope you guys have an awesome week. Let me know if you have any questions. What are things that help boost your confidence for the week? I'd love to know. All right. Take care. I will talk to you soon. Bye.